Distinguished guests, participants, Sawasdee krap, and welcome to the Digital Finance Conference for 2023. In February 2022, the Bank of Thailand put out a consultation paper on the BOT financial landscape, where we laid out our vision for where we'd like to see things to go, particularly on the digital financial landscape front. And in that, we put out this concept we called we refer to internally as the three opens, which you saw on the screen over there, about open data, open infrastructure, and open competition. And these three key directions, these three opens, continue to guide us in trying to build an ecosystem for responsible innovation where different players, through a healthy competition, balancing between innovation and risks, should try to help develop financial services that better meet consumer needs. So let me just give you a bit of update on the progress that we've made so far in those three areas. So first on open infrastructure. One, I think, significant area of progress we've made is with the program that you saw on the screen over there called mBridge, which is a platform that's designed to support real-time cross-border payments using CBDCs as central bank digital currencies. It's a platform that we developed together with 4 other countries in the BIS Innovation Hub. And it's successfully completed its first phase, pilot phase, with 164 transactions, and it's shown clear benefits. So I think it's a very quite promising area. We've seen much faster transfer times, down from 3 to 5 days now to just literally several seconds. We've seen potentially savings in costs up to 40%. We've seen clearly reduced settlement risk, as now it can be done in terms of payment versus payment settlement. And it also provides traceability, which we didn't have under the current system. The second initiative, I think, which has demonstrated a very good progress is under open infrastructure, has been the prompt pay and pay now linkage between us and Singapore, which is the world's first linkage of faster payment systems. And while that payment has been put in place, we've seen good traffic and good uptake on that. We've had now a total of 900,000 transactions since the project started. QR code payment linkages. Thailand now has implemented the highest number of cross-border direct real-time payment linkages in the world. The infrastructure is there. I think we now need to work toward make sure that the uptake and the traffic on those channels increases accordingly. And as you saw also on the video that was put out, I think we've done a pretty good job on the retail side. The next issue now is to try to do more for the business side. So we've launched PromptBiz, which is a new digital infrastructure launched last month, which aims to facilitate digital trade and payment processes for businesses. In the area of open data, the Bank of Thailand, together with the banking industry, launched D-Statement last year. It's a digital service which attempts to facilitate customers to allow them to efficiently request and send bank statement information across banks and enable digital lending with lower operating costs. And on open competition, we have provided the draft regulations announcements to the Ministry of Finance on virtual banks. We sent it out in July to the Ministry of Finance, so things look like they should be on track to meet the schedules that we put out in terms of accepting and approving virtual bank licenses. So, what next? We need to do more. More needs to be done. There still exist frictions to access and transfer our own data, which are generated with various and different service providers. We need to make it easier for players to access key digital infrastructure, which will be less costly for players to enter the market. And we need to ensure that the foundational layer for innovation is there and that players have room to experiment with new technology. So what does this mean in terms of our next phase and what we'd like to see going forward? Let me highlight 3 things that we'd like to do. First, common utility. Second, open digital payment ecosystem. And third, a more collaborative approach to new technology. Let me share a few thoughts and observations on each of these areas. First, common utility. we need to put in place kind of a better public good infrastructure for digital finance development. So what we'd like to do is focus on consumer empowerment so that consumers can exercise their rights to transfer their data, which are stored at one provider, to another. So for example, a loan applicant can request to transfer their bank account information, the utility usage, their bill payment data, and other kinds of alternative data from one service provider to another, so that lenders can better assess the applicant's risk and offer better tailored products. With this reduced friction on data portability, consumers should be able to leverage their own data to get better services and better access to financing from different service providers. So what kinds of things do we need to do to get this in place? First, we need to look at regulations and incentives to ensure that service providers put in place a mechanism which enables data owners to request and transfer their data from one service provider to another via digital channels. So we need to see what? We need to see data in a machine-readable format. We need to see secure data sharing under common standards and data governance. And we need to see a supportive pricing structure to get the incentives properly aligned. The other thing we need to do to realize this common utility is to look at common standards to try to reduce development costs and ensure secure data sharing among various types of financial and non-financial service providers. The Bank of Thailand will facilitate the consultation and standard setting for common data standards, API standards, and security standard with banks, non-banks, and standard specialists such as the ETDA, the Electronic Transactions Development Agency, and the DGA, the Digital Government Agencies. We will first focus on providing efficient data sharing among service providers under BOT supervision, obviously, banks and non-banks, with consumers' consent. But secondly, we would hope and to be able to extend this ecosystem to involve data sources and data consumers in other sectors, including utility usage and bill payment. We would look to seek collaboration with industries to explore use cases that common infrastructures, shared infrastructures, can be utilized to streamline common processes of shared services. We hope this will allow service providers to connect to key digital infrastructure with common standards, reduce investment costs and time to market, and enhance overall system efficiency. That's a vision of what we'd like to see. I can also offer you a vision of what we do not want to see. And I think a good example of where we have not been able to leverage that shared infrastructure as efficiently is with ATMs, right? Where we see that lots of different ATMs, all together in the same place. But if there's a way, again, to, kind of more efficiently utilize the shared infrastructure, it would reduce the cost. And so we don't want to see that problem replicated in the digital space. The second area is on open digital payment ecosystem. So we'd like to ensure fair access to key digital payment infrastructure to support open competition among players and have an integrated strategic direction towards less cash and more digital payment. So the kinds of things we need to do in this front would be to revise regulations to ensure that qualified players are able to access to systemically important retail payment systems, notably NITMX, and allow them to engage in setting the direction for infrastructure development. We need to review the payment fee structure to support players' access to digital payment infrastructure and digital payment adoption. And there's currently work in progress by a fee structure working group and stakeholder consultation with industry on this front. And thirdly, we need to formulate an important integrated strategy for driving digital payment adoption so that we can transition more smoothly to a less cash society. And we will engage and collaborate with relevant stakeholders to ensure that implementation is effective and smooth, while at the same time, obviously, taking care to ensure that issues of financial inclusion remain able to be addressed effectively. Cash, I think there will always be a room for cash, particularly in harder to reach areas and whatnot, but I think in certain areas, particularly urban areas, trying to enhance and facilitate transition to a more digital payment will be beneficial for the country as a whole. Third area, a collaborative approach to new technology. We want to explore new use cases with the industry for the use of new technology, such as, in particular, tokenization, programmability, and AI in the financial sector under a suitable risk framework. We'll be putting in place a new sandbox. We currently have a regulatory sandbox which allows testing of regulated activities which have application of new technologies. And what we're planning to do is to have an additional channel, a new sandbox, which is more flexible to support the testing of unregulated financial activities that will apply new technologies for use cases that we think can benefit customers. And again, the kinds of things that we'd be looking at, that we'd be interested to see, are tokenization that would help improve access of SMEs to credit, programmability that will help enhance efficiency of payment services. And also in terms of AI, another new area, we will look forward to engaging with stakeholders and explore the possibility to better utilize AI in financial services, particularly in the areas such as fraud prevention and detection and trying to enhance financial inclusion, and all, again, very importantly, with a proper risk management framework. So these are the kinds of the three directions that I mentioned: common utility, open payment, new collaborative approach towards technology that we'd like to move. That's the direction we'd like to go, but in terms of how we get there, the details of what we're going to do, that end destination, the timing, we obviously need to do that in consultation with all our stakeholders. And so we'll be putting out a consultation paper on these three directions. I see in my notes they wrote here by Q4 2023. Actually, when I was talking to the team, I said October. So let's say early Q4 2023 to try to get feedback and suggestions from the stakeholders on these issues. And again, I'd like to emphasize that we know we cannot do this alone. So trying to build this ecosystem for responsible innovation, including those three areas that I mentioned, will require collaboration, strength, and the expertise of all our stakeholders, the banks, non-banks, end users, technology companies, and the regulators in the financial and non-financial sectors to try to design and implement. And I think that today's conference is an example of that platform which tries to encourage that collaboration. So I hope very much that you will take the chance to try to share your knowledge, your expertise, and to try to foster innovation that we would like to see happen here in Thailand. So with that, thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have an enjoyable and fruitful conference. Thank you very much.